Hello and welcome to another quick edit video. This time I want to show you the post-processing for this winter mountain landscape picture, and here's the before and after. So as always, the first thing I'm doing is I'm activating those two lens correction settings, and then I want to make the image appear colder, so I'm changing the color temperature. And then I'm applying some overall changes, like I want to add some contrast to my image. Also, I'm going to increase the shadows quite a lot. And I also want to add some clarity and as well as some vibrance. Oh, and by the way, this is an HDR image. I'm going to use this darker exposure for the sky part of the image and the bright exposure for the trees you can see on the sides of my image. And I combined those three images already in Lightroom just by selecting them and then photo merge HDR. That being said, that this image is an HDR image, I have a lot of control over the whole dynamic range, so there shouldn't be any over or underexposed parts once I have finished editing it. Now that I have applied the basic corrections, I'm going to start with the local adjustments. And basically there are two important areas of my image. First one being the sky and the second one being my foreground. First I want to work on the foreground, therefore I already applied some radial filters, as you can see. And what I want to do here is to bring out the footsteps you can see in the snow there. Therefore I'm reducing the blacks a lot. Also I'm decreasing the saturation, as this editing will make the snow appear way too blue. Now I also add a lot of clarity and maybe some dehaze, which will give me more contrast. Okay, then the next radial filter I want to work on is for the mountain range in the back. Here I just want to increase the shadows, and also I want to increase the whites a little bit. And then I want to add some bloom effect for the sky part of the image, and therefore I just increase the blacks. I also want to appear this area warmer, so I'm changing the color temperature. And actually I want to add some separate color to it. And therefore I want to go with something colder, I guess. And I'm applying the same settings for the second glow radial filter. So again I'm increasing the temperature and I'm increasing the blacks. And I'm adding a colder color to it. Now I also applied two gradiated filters, one for the sky and one for my foreground. And I'm starting with the one for the foreground. Here I just increased the exposure a little bit more. Then I'm adding some more contrast. I could also increase the shadows a little bit more. And I'm also adding a lot of whites. Okay, and then for the sky part, here I want to decrease the exposure, and I also want to add a lot of contrast. Also I am reducing the highlights to get some structure back, and I think I'm adding a lot of clarity as well. And maybe I'm reducing the saturation just a tiny bit. Now I want to push the color saturation of the orange color tones. And I think I'm pushing the yellow ones as well. And I also want to increase the blue color saturation a little bit. And now comes the most important part for the color look of this image, split toning. Therefore I want to apply warm color to the highlights of the image and also add a lot of strength to this effect. And for the shadows I'm going with something colder. And as you can see, the split toning does change the image look quite a lot. And of course I'm going to add a lot of sharpening. And for the last part in Lightroom I am adding some vignetting. Okay, now that I have done this, I'm going to export the image and finish editing it in Photoshop. First I want to get rid of some of the footsteps on the side of the image, because I think they are leading the viewer's eye out of it. So therefore I'm just using the healing brush and I paint over it. Okay, and then I'm checking the Nik Collection filters to see if there's anything fitting for this image. The first filter I want to add is the polarization one, and just for the sky part of my image, because it gives it a nice looking color. And because I only need it in the sky area, I'm applying a layer mask and I'm masking out the rest of it. Actually, I think I'm leaving this filter on the foreground as well, because I have some more contrast on the footsteps in the snow. And now I think I might add some more glow using the Nik Collection plugin. Actually, I think I'm going with the skylight filter first to further enhance the sky in the image. As you can see, it adds a lot of warmth to it. And again, I'm using a layer mask to reduce the strength of the effect on the foreground of my image. But now it's time to add some glow. And therefore I'm going with the classical soft focus filter, and here I just choose the third template. Again, I don't want this effect to be overlaying over the mountain range, because it reduces the sharpness quite a lot. So I'm using a layer mask again. And I also don't want it to be applied on the foreground, so I'm masking this area out as well. I think I want to apply some slight dodging and burning for the foreground. Therefore I've chosen the dodge tool, which will make my highlights a little bit more brighter. And then I'm choosing the burn tool to make the dark areas darker. Alright, and that was the post-processing for this winter mountain image. I hope it was helpful, and if you'd like to see more content like this, then feel free to subscribe to my channel. And thank you for watching.